Have you ever stood in a place so old you could feel the weight of history pressing in on you? That's Luxembourg for you. It's all serene forests, majestic castles and towns that look like they've been plucked straight from a fairy tale. But behind that postcard-perfect facade, some places hold secrets. Dark secrets. Today, we're journeying to Vianden Castle, a magnificent fortress that towers over the Aar Valley. It's a place of knights and nobles, of grand halls and breathtaking views. But there is a legend whispered within its stone walls that you won't find in any tourist guidebook. They say a shadow walks its corridors, a shadow with no body. A presence that has been felt for centuries but never explained. The castle guides will tell you about its construction, the counts who lived there, the restorations that brought it back to its former glory. They'll point out the intricate tapestries and the suits of armor. But they won't tell you about the corridor on the upper floor. The one visitors have nicknamed the corridor that eats light. It's a long, narrow passageway, flanked by ancient stone. Even on the sunniest days, it seems to swallow the light, remaining perpetually dim, perpetually cold. People who walk through it report a sudden drop in temperature, a feeling of being watched, and a strange, oppressive silence that seems to muffle all sound. Some have even claimed to see something out of the corner of their eye, a fleeting darkness that vanishes the moment they turn to look. This brings us to Elise, a solo traveler with a passion for history and a healthy dose of skepticism. She'd heard the rumors, of course, but dismissed them as local folklore, something to entertain the tourists. One late afternoon, as the castle was preparing to close, she decided to take one last look around. She found herself drawn to that very hallway. The air grew heavy and still. Her flashlight, which she had turned on as the natural light faded, began to flicker, casting erratic shadows on the walls. Her breath started to fog in the sudden, biting cold. That's when she saw it. Further down the hall, a silhouette was walking ahead of her. It was perfectly shaped, the distinct outline of a person, perfectly dark. But there was no human form casting it. It was a shadow without a source, moving with a silent, deliberate grace. Elise froze. Her heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the chilling silence. Her rational mind was screaming, telling her it was a trick of the light, an optical illusion. But her gut knew better. This was something else. Something unnatural. Mustering every ounce of courage she had, she whispered into the gloom, "Hello?" The word was barely a breath, swallowed by the oppressive atmosphere. The shadow stopped. Slowly, it turned. There was no face, no features, just an abyss of pure darkness turning to face her. The air didn't just get cold. It froze. It was a cold that seeped into her bones, a primal cold that felt ancient and malevolent. In that instant, her fully charged phone died. The screen went black, lifeless. Panic, raw and overwhelming, seized her. She didn't wait for another moment. She turned and ran, her boots slipping on the worn stone steps as she scrambled away from the suffocating darkness. She didn't look back. She could feel it behind her, not chasing, but watching. The feeling of its presence was like a physical weight on her back. She burst out of the corridor and didn't stop running until she was outside. Gasping in the cool evening air, the normal sounds of the world, a welcome relief. Later, when she reported the incident, the security staff were polite but dismissive. They'd heard stories like hers before. But Elise was persistent. She demanded they check the CCTV footage. And what they saw on the camera trained on that hallway made their blood run cold. The footage showed Elise, clear as day, her face a mask of terror. It showed her running for her life, stumbling down the old stone steps. But behind her? There was nothing at all. Except for a patch of darkness on the floor. It wasn't a natural shadow. It was crawling, spreading across the stone like a pool of ink, moving like something alive, something predatory. It followed her to the edge of the camera S-frame, and then retreated back into the gloom of the corridor. The next morning, the castle management quietly closed that hallway to the public. They cited ongoing restoration work as the official reason, a plausible excuse that no one would question. But the staff knew the real reason. They knew what the camera had captured. The corridor that eats light was sealed off, its secret locked away from prying eyes. Yet, the story doesn't end there. Even now, years later, night watchmen and maintenance workers at Vianden Castle share hushed stories. They talk about the lights in that sealed-off section flickering on and off for no reason. They speak of catching a glimpse of something from the corner of their eye, a dark shape standing at the far end of the barricaded corridor, waiting, just waiting. As if it knows that one day, someone will be curious enough, or foolish enough, to wander down that hallway again. Waiting for someone to follow it into the darkness from which they might not return. What is this shadow? Is it the ghost of a long-dead count, forever patrolling his domain? Or is it something older, something tied to the very stones of the castle itself? A being of pure shadow that has made its home in the dark corners of history. The legends offer no answers, only warnings. They say the shadow feeds on light, on warmth, on life itself. And that it is always watching, always waiting for its next visitor. So if you ever find yourself wandering the magnificent halls of Vianden Castle, admire the architecture, soak in the history. But if you come across a corridor that feels unnaturally cold, where the light seems to die and the silence is deafening, perhaps it's best to turn back. Some doors are closed for a reason, and some shadows are best left undisturbed. If this story sent a chill down your spine and made you look over your shoulder, don't wander off. This is just one of many legends lurking after dark. Tap that like button, and make sure you subscribe for our next journey into the unknown. You'll want someone with you when the shadows start to move.